Hey, I'm back. And I am still sunburned, still quite sore, still feeling stupid. But on the bright side, I am able to sit, and I managed to get to town today for a little bit. I met with my friend and had a very nice time. So that really cheered me up. It really cheered me up. Yeah, it was lovely. So I'm back to you. And more importantly, you are back to me. I want to, in this episode, get onto why I am on ADHD medication and how that happened. Because it doesn't quite make sense. Just say, oh yeah, so I'm on ADHD medicine. So you wouldn't have the background. I feel like you need a bit of a background. So after everybody was diagnosed with ASD, then my eldest was diagnosed with ADHD. Of course, that made me immediately think, well, he's like me. If he has ADHD, then I must have ADHD. We're the same. So immediately I was thinking that and started looking into it a little bit. And, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole on finding out about ADHD. But the end of that same year, in September, we moved to Belgium. So there was a lot of change and a lot going on. I moved job. I was doing essentially the same job, but different, in a different school, in a different place. We moved house. We moved to a different country where nothing works the same way. All of my children moved school and my eldest started university. So there was 5 massive changes in our life. So I didn't have time and I didn't have the resources to dig really deep into ADHD. So I didn't really do that. It certainly didn't become a special interest of mine, no. I know a certain amount about it and I didn't do any courses. I didn't do an awful lot, to be honest. I was busy. So in Belgium, my other children somehow, even though I thought we'd done everything you could possibly ever do around assessments and had, gone all out, and it took us years to figure it out, once we got to Belgium, the school needed different assessments and they needed them to put support in place. And they're a lot fussier about reports for putting support in place than Ireland is. In Ireland, we tend to put support in place as it's needed. And they're quite strict about, they only put support in place when they have a piece of paper saying the person needs it. So we had to go and get pieces of paper that were different format and were up to date. They had an awful lot more numbers. So I was actually a lot happier with the reports because there was lots of numbers and it all made sense. And I was like, oh, okay, that's where they are on the scale of this and that's where they are on the scale of that. But it did turn out that all of my kids were diagnosed with a big long string of things each. And everybody was diagnosed with ADHD, which really confirmed the case for me that I thought I had ADHD. I'm 45. So while I thought, I didn't think of this and I didn't think it was connected at all, being 45, how is that connected to ADHD? It's not. But realising that I more than likely did have ADHD and considering that the kids had it. And around the same time, I started to really struggle with getting things done, things that I'd always struggled a little bit with, quite a bit with. But, I struggled more with getting things done, remembering that I was supposed to be doing things. We missed a couple of appointments that I was really annoyed with myself about. The kids' appointments, if it was me, I'd get over it. There was things I just didn't manage to get organised for myself. Like it took me a long time to get a mammogram organised for myself. And my mother died of breast cancer. It's kind of important that I do that. And when I got there to do it, they were like, oh my God, why haven't you had this done before? This is your first. Oh my God, what are you doing? And I just felt, oh my God, I'm actually not getting important things done. It's not like I'm missing small things and my house is a mess, that too, but I was missing big things. And, I was lucky, obviously there was nothing wrong, but I just kind of felt I'm letting myself down. I'm letting the kids down. I need help. I need to figure this out. And I've pushed through everything the kids needed to do to get them as much help as possible and as much information about their needs to have support put in place. I haven't done it for me. And now I'm the person who's not doing the right things to support the family. And I need to be on the ball because I have 5 kids with additional needs and they have a mix of additional needs and a demanding mix of additional needs. I need to be fully on the ball to support them properly. And I worked out, that analogy of the put your own oxygen mask on first. My oxygen mask was not on. I needed help. And I think it linked to being 45. I think it all links in. I was finding out recently about how being perimenopause connects with your dopamine levels and realised, okay, that would make sense of why I'm struggling a bit more than usual. And when I'm already struggling and I'm already working as hard as I can, I just don't have that extra little inch to give it when I start to struggle. For other reasons, I don't have anything left. I'm already giving it my all. I'm giving it everything and more. So there's nothing else to improve. I can't improve by trying. I need help. I need something. So I hadn't realised that was why I need help, but it possibly is. I am that age. It would make sense. I'm very grey these days. So there's a lot of things. It would make sense. So I decided that I needed to go and get some support for ADHD. Now I did think that I did think medication would probably help me, because it made a big difference to my eldest child, who's very like me, and to my third child, who's also very like me, and not such a difference to my second child, who's not remotely like me. We have very little in common, actually, where there isn't any overlap really in our interests or anything. You know, I love him to bits, but we don't have a lot in common. He's way more like my husband. So I thought, yeah, medication is what I want. That's what I want. I want that. That's what I want to try. I was ready to try it. Because it had been so successful for two of the kids. And then I went back to my daughter's, what was he called? He was a psychiatrist, I suppose, or a clinical psychologist, I'm not sure. The guy who diagnosed her ADHD. And I asked him for a contact who would be able to diagnose me and give me medication straight away, because I didn't want to have the dilly-dallying around trying to find someone who would accept the diagnosis that I had. I hear so many people who have problems with that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted someone who was able to do both. So he referred me on to somebody. And lo and behold, she was able to medicate me for ADHD. That was about 2 months ago now, and I can't believe I've gotten here in 6 minutes. I've diagnosed 5 people with ADHD in 6 minutes. It's amazing. So I got my medication, started on my medication, tried it out, and my experience was that I didn't feel any different, but I was able to start things. I have a lot of difficulty just actually doing the thing that I decided I would do. I'm going to put the dishes in the dishwasher. I'll do it in a minute. Where will I start? Which cup would go first? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should sit down, you know, and I end up sitting down. The more things I have to do, the less likely I am to do any of them, unless there is a sense of urgency around them. Obviously, if it's at work, I do it because you have to do it. There is urgency at work. Everything has to be done. But at home, you know, will I clean this? Will I clean that? Will I tidy this up? Will I do that? No, I just don't do stuff. I just leave them and procrastinate, I suppose, and not do it. I just don't engage with them. And it's why things don't get done, because I don't do them. You know, that explains it. It's not a mystery, really. But why I can't do them, I could never explain. Why can't I do the thing I want to do it? I want it done. I want the result of it being done. I do want to do it. I figured I was tired, or I was burnt out, or I was exhausted, or when I thought it was an autism thing, I thought it must be an autism thing. But I really do think it's an ADHD thing. I'm still not really sure of why I'm like that about things. But what I found with the medication is I'm able to start things. I feel like starting things. I feel like doing something, and I don't have a lot of decision making to do around what will I do. I just do something, and doing something means something gets done. It might not be exactly what should get done, but at least something is done. I might want to do my planning for work and not feel like doing that, but at least I'll start on the dishes in the sink. Whereas ordinarily, the planning that I need to do for work would stop me doing anything about the dishes in the sink, because I'd say I really shouldn't be cleaning the house when I have planning to do for work. Or I really shouldn't be planning for work when I need to sort out this kitchen, you know. Either way, I wouldn't do either of them, because one would stop me doing the other. It doesn't make any sense, I know, but that's how I work. With the medication, I would start on one of the two, and I would do something, and I would not only start it, but when there was an obstacle, like I opened the dishwasher to put things in, and I realised it's full. That would often stop me from going any further. I'd be like, oh no, I can't empty the dishwasher before I fill it. I can't do that. I would try and get the kids to do that, which is more effort than actually doing it yourself. But still, I would try to do that. Or I would just give up, which is a small little obstacle. Certainly, if there was a bigger obstacle than that, I'd get even more stuck. So I was able to get past little things like that and say, oh, right, okay, I'm going to have to empty it first. Great, I'll do that then. So I would do that and then fill the dishwasher. And that's a very simple task, you know. I mean, if I was planning for something for work and I couldn't find a book, that would totally stall me as well. I would say, okay, I can't move on to the next subject because I can't find the book for this subject. So I'm stopped on this. I wouldn't get up and go looking for the book. I'd say, okay, I don't have the book. I better wait on that and I'll do something else. I just don't make sense on what I do first, and I just talk myself around in circles and end up actually doing nothing. Nothing gets finished. Nothing gets kind of into the middle of it even, unless there's no obstacles. If there's no obstacles, I can just fly at stuff. So I do try to set up my life so there aren't obstacles, so that, you know, all the books for my planning are kept in one place, and I have many things online as possible, so that if, you know, I can't even lose the book, I can just look it up online and have my passwords, and I try to keep all that organized so I don't have obstacles. But there's only so far you can go with that. There's going to be obstacles. I might need to make a phone call or email somebody or wait for a response from somebody else, and then I never come back to that thing again. I particularly don't like phone calls. So with the medication, I was able to start things. I felt like starting things. I was able to start things. I was able to do things. And I found as well, I was just feeling in that way. I was feeling that I want to do something and I'm ready to do something. I wasn't feeling, oh my God, this is too much. What am I going to do? How am I going to cope with this? I wasn't feeling that at all. I just wanted to get going and stuff. Now, what I did find a little bit hard in terms of the feelings was I was a little bit impatient with everybody else, not kind of adding to what I was trying to do. Like, I'm in the mood for doing something, you won't put your shoes on, became far more annoying than you don't want to put your shoes on. Come on, I want to go somewhere, I want to do something, let's tackle something today. But you won't put your shoes on. I found that more irritating than I normally would. Normally, if one of the kids wouldn't put their shoes on, I'd say, all right, then let's not bother going. And I'd sit back down. Problem solved. Whenever you put your shoes on, we might go to the park. And if you don't put your shoes on, we just won't go to the park. Problem solved. But I was far more motivated to do something. So the shoe problem became more of a problem. And I was dealing with the shoe problem and pushing the children to go out to the park, which I suppose is a good thing. But I was more irritated at the shoes not being put on. I mean, I wasn't losing it now, but I was just feeling more about the shoes not being put on, where normally I'd be quite patient with that. I'd be more kind of, okay, well, if you don't want to go, you don't want to go. What can we do? So those three things. So I came back to my therapist with those three things at my second appointment with her, that I after having medication for a month. And she said, okay, well, maybe the issue here is that you don't have the medication for long enough. You've got a 4-hour dose and you don't have it for long enough. It's working well for you. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But you need to take it for longer, because I was only really having medication during work hours in the morning, and then, which I didn't really need it for. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, where I had a morning where I was just more productive and more willing to do something. And it was great. It made a massive difference. It meant that on a Saturday and Sunday, I got going. And then by the time the evening came, I was already going. So I hadn't wasted the whole day and I was able to just do stuff. So it was great. I was really happy. I was like, oh my God, this is so positive. And the longer medication for a longer day has been exactly the same. It's medication for a longer day. So like, it sounds like it's a really good success story. Okay, I have medication. Now I can do stuff. I can start stuff. I can keep going with stuff. And I feel like doing stuff. So I feel better immediately. I feel better about my life, because I feel like tackling it. I feel like doing stuff about all the problems that are there. Whereas before I felt overwhelmed by the problems that were there and felt, oh my God, do I have to do these things? There's too much. There's too many. I don't have time. I felt like that all the time. It was stressful for years. That's how my life has been. So it was really, really good. It sounds like that's the end of the story. But I went back for my next appointment, and my feedback really to her at that point was, I feel like doing stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I don't have the skills to do things well. I don't have the skills to be organized. I feel like sorting out all the clothes in our bedroom, but I don't really know what to keep, what to get rid of. I don't know how to do that. I don't throw things out. I have every stitch. I have clothes that I wore before I had my first child, that I was a teenager. They're definitely never going to fit me, but I had no skills to kind of decide what to keep and what to get rid of, and no way of kind of supporting myself in doing that, because that's just not something I ever had the urge to tackle before. It was like, oh, I can't deal with that. It's there. I'll just put them in a room and lock them in a wardrobe and put them in boxes. They're in boxes and stuff. But I had no way of dealing with it, So I have no way of dealing with that. But it's not just that. It's multiple things. I just don't have the strategies to deal with stuff, because I've never developed them, because no strategies ever worked. So I have homework to do on becoming friends with structure and routine. And this is what I'm trying to do. And I have the other thing that she suggested was that strategies that haven't worked for me in the past, they're successful for a lot of people, but have not worked for me and that I've tried, and I would ordinarily be like, no way. Having your bag ready the night before, don't be ridiculous. That's not going to help me. I've tried that. I can't remember to do it. I forget to go. I forget the bag. I need to leave everything at work and not bring anything home. The strategies that work for me, I could now start relying and trying out strategies that I have tried before that did not work for me, because now things might work differently for me. And I need to get used to my brain working differently. And I need to get used to the idea that I can do stuff that I haven't been able to trust myself and rely on myself to do before. Now I'm more able to do things. And unless I make that change and start doing things differently, the medication will only go so far. I will feel different about doing things. I'll be able to do things, but I'll just be doing random things, and I won't be doing things in any kind of a structured order. I need to start doing things in a grown-up, structured kind of a way. She wasn't that mean about it now. But I need to become friends with structure and routine, is what she said. And I am like, I cannot maintain structure. I cannot maintain routine. I cannot become friends with those two people. They don't like me. How am I going to be friends with them? They just don't like me, and I forget they exist. If there's a glitch, I totally forget the routine. It's gone. I come back after the Halloween break and I'm like, oh, what do we do in the mornings again? I don't remember. And that's at work, I certainly don't remember what we do at home. No idea. What day of the week is it? I have no idea. So this is my goal. I am going to spend my podcast talking about different strategies and different methods that I'm using to try to get my act together. And whether it helps you or not would be, kind of a bonus, really. But it's a way for me to record how I'm doing on these things and how I'm managing them, and how effective strategies are being, and what I'm finding helpful and what I'm not, so that I can go back and listen to myself again and say, oh yeah, I tried that before, and how did I find it? Yeah, that was helpful. It was helpful for this and this and this, but I didn't give enough effort with this. Maybe I should try it again, or maybe not. Maybe no, that was just a disaster for me. And I'll remember and I'll know. And if any of the things that I'm trying out are effective for somebody in a similar position, that would be nice. Or somebody who's not medicated but wants to try things. I don't know who it could be helpful for, but it's certainly going to be helpful for me. And obviously listening to the things I'm tackling might be of interest to somebody with ADHD and autism anyway, because I'm not trying to organise nothing. I'm trying to organise a life with 5 autistic kids with ADHD, and that will crop up quite a bit. So I'm hoping it won't be too boring for everybody to listen to. Yeah, and I'll every kind of a mix of things is going to be in there, I think. But that's where I'm coming from, and that's what I'm trying to do from my point of view for me. And that should be therapeutic, I suppose, hopefully. Yeah, so that's the plan. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. I'll be getting straight down to my strategy number 1, because I'm already trying it and I'm already stumbling a little bit with it. So yeah, I'll have to fill you in on how that's going.